Welcome to Walk the Line. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray, man. We right back at it again. I'll be breaking down the DML Week 8 game card. But this week, man, I couldn't do it alone. I got a superstar championship cast, man. And it's going to be a crazy show. What's going on, Ember? Man, I'm going to introduce you first, man. What's going on? Welcome to Walk the Line. Man, I think it's your first time on here, right?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Yeah, it's my first time on Walk the Line. I'm pretty pumped up right now, man. I'm pretty excited for it.
All right, man. The next guy, y'all know him well, man. The guy that hung multiple banners back to back. He's the king of the sticks to the skill. My fault, Emperor. My fault. Baby. I ain't mean to throw no shots and nothing like that, but my fault. But this guy, man, brings it every cycle, man. Eddie, what's going on, brother?
OG, what's good, bro?
Yeah, man, y'all know what time it is, man. It's Walk the Line. I got 2 championship users in the DML breaking down these Week 8 picks for me. So we ain't going to hold you up. We're going to dive right into it. First up, we got Ralph and the Minnesota Vikings versus Nasty Noop and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Nasty Noop right now, man, is balling. I'm not going to say balling, but he seemed to have things clicking out there in Atlanta. He's sitting at 4-3. And Ralph on the other side of the meter can't seem to figure out how to get things going. Like, he has so much talent on both sides of the ball. This Minnesota Vikings team, how they're stacked, I can't not figure out why they're not competing within the division or within the DML. So, what's y'all guys' thoughts on this matchup? I'm going to go to you first, Ember, because this is your division meet.
Man, Randy plays good ball. I'm on defense. He runs Dalvin Cook really well. He plays great defense, but I think Dion, he's balled out this second season. I think his draft picks he hit on. I think he's been in the lab a little bit. So if I had to go one way, I'd probably go with Dion and the Falcons beating Randy and the Vikes.
Ooh, pick already in. So we got one guy going with the Falcons with his matchup now. Eddie, this is a guy that you grew familiar with playing against last cycle. What seems to be working this cycle with him, man? Like, if you watching his games, like, did you see anything different, or is this the same Nasty Noop that you grown accustomed to see playing all last cycle?
I wouldn't say nothing different. Mm-hmm. Pretty much the same. Game just plays different. Okay. He's always been a runner since I've known, and the run game works in this version, so it kind of is tailor-made to what he does. He runs the ball, plays D, tries to play mistake-free football. I got the Falcons too.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer to me, man. Just how Randy is playing right now. The Vikings, man, just seem to be like the doormat team of the DML. I hope that shot that I just threw at him will wake him up and spark some type of fire out there in Minnesota. But with my pick, man, I'm going to have to go with the Atlanta Falcons getting a W going into Week 9. Moving on, we got C-Rob and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus KP and the Chiefs. Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, man, I'm kind of jealous of this Kansas City Chiefs team with all their speed that they have out there, with John Ross, Tyreek Hill, and that wide receiver, what's his name? Hageman, I think his last name is? Hardman. Okay, Hardman. It's just so much speed. And then you got Mr. Bazooka himself, Patrick Mahomes, back there, at the quarterback position. But surprisingly, man, the kryptonite is his offensive line. Last week they couldn't get the job done with protecting Patrick Mahomes. And the week before last, I believe they gave up 15 total sacks in one game, which is mind-blowing to me. So, what y'all think? Do y'all think C-Rob needs to follow the formula from the previous 2 game film that has been released on these Kansas City Chiefs, or you think that he need to bring a different mentality to this matchup? I'm gonna go with you first, Eddie, on this one.
KP, that's my man from the firm. And we talk a lot. He's probably one of the few users I do actually talk to outside of the chat, personally. But he's in a slump. He hasn't figured things out, and I think jokers think he's like joking when he says he sucks, but it's like he's Jekyll and Hyde. One day he's hot, one day he's cold. So literally on any given night, you could get the best version of him, or you could get a bad one. So I think if he can get in the lab a little more and try to figure things out, he might be able to turn the season around. But like you said, if he doesn't get that O-line fixed, then there's nothing to talk about.
All right, so I'm coming to you now, Ember. What's your thoughts for this matchup right here?
kind of piggyback on what Addy just said. KP, he's got speed everywhere, man. But he went young on defense. He's got a lot of high salary contracts that he's not really fond of, and he can't really form the team he wants to right now. But the offensive line has been his Achilles heel. Mm-hmm. But he's been in a lot of tough games. He lost a tough game against the Panthers earlier today, man. He controlled the game for the most part, and then second half kind of fell apart. But I think he's got the ability to do it. I think he needs to run the ball a little bit more. But I've been telling KP that since I've been brought up, man. I think he needs to run the ball just a little bit more, and I think he'll garner a little bit more success, especially in this newer version.
Yeah, and the thing about it with the Chiefs is right here. Like, I think the formula has been laid out how to beat the Chiefs, and that's just blitz all day, every day. And this is my opinion on KP. And I'm just being honest. KP ain't in no slump. KP,
I'm telling you he is.
Look, listen.
I'm telling you he is.
Look, listen. It's the same way last cycle started off with KP. KP just keeping himself just above a float, so that way guys is not saying he's tanking or right now. KP ain't taking this first half of the cycle serious, because if you have grown accustomed to seeing the type of team that KP wants and likes to build, I guarantee you come at least I'm gonna give it tops 4 seasons in. Watch how you see this Kansas City Chiefs team start balling out of nowhere. He's just trying to figure out how to stay afloat. Until he get those pieces and those guys on his roster that he likes to play with, those fast linebackers, those cornerbacks that can play man and they're fast, and he already has the wide receiver group out there. So it's like it's hard. I don't know, man. I'm gonna take your advice, Addy, and think that he's in the slump. But when you go on accustomed to seeing how a guy plays and how he starts off each cycle, it's just like it's hard to just to try to believe that. But with my pick in this matchup, it's gonna be hard, but I can't see KP losing to the Buccaneers. It's no disrespect to C-Rob, but I can't see him taking 3 L's back to back. So I'm going with my pick. I'm taking the Chiefs, man, getting a W at home. What's y'all guys' thoughts and what's y'all picks?
Oh, I mean, he in the slump, but I'm taking the Brody. I'm never gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm going with the Chiefs. Okay. I'm okay being wrong with that pick, but that's just what it is.
C-Rob's been balling, man, but I have to go with KP. I think eventually he's gonna figure it out. I'm not sure if C-Rob has a DB that can run with KP's wide receiver, so I take KP edging that one out.
All right. So we got KP getting the W going into week 9. Moving on, we got Expert in the Dallas Cowboys versus Taz and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, last off season that just passed, I thought Taz made one of the most craziest moves. Besides the W's, I'm not gonna put his name out there, but I thought Taz made one of the most craziest moves when he traded away John Ross. I was like, dang, AJ Green is aging. Outside of that, who's he gonna throw the ball to? But surprisingly, Taz got Cincinnati balling, man. They're balling on both sides of the field. Both sides of the ball on defense and offense. And Expert seems to be having things clicking out there in Dallas. He entered this matchup 6-1. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott is second rushing in the lead right now. So, what's your guys' thoughts for this matchup? And who y'all got getting the W going into week 9?
I ain't even gonna waste no time. Give me the Cowboys. No offense to Taz, but I think he'll keep it close, but give me the Cowboys.
All right. Who you going with, Embro, man? What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Man, Taz is my guy, but Expert's hot right now, man, and it's hard to pick against him. I mean, his defense just gave up a total of 7 yards. I mean, that's tough to beat, nuts, man. So I think the game will be a lot closer, but I think I'll give it to Expert this week.
Negative passing yards. Passing yards. Yo, negative. Expert just set a new record in the DML, man. Negative passing yards. That's crazy.
I think Pablo had more completions to Dallas's DBs than he had his own receivers, man.
Yeah, that's nuts.
All right, but this is the thing right here, man. I'm being honest. I like the way the Cowboys are playing, but if Taz can come out and play, because he has the guy that can wreak havoc and slow down Ezekiel Elliott by himself, and that's Geno Atkins. This guy's a beast.
Yeah, Geno crazy.
If Taz can figure out how to not turn the ball over, and come out with a solid game plan to slow Ezekiel Elliott down and force Expert to sling the rock and put the game in Dak Prescott's hands, I can see the Bengals getting the W at home. However, the Cowboys just got too much talent, man, on that roster. So with my pick 2, y'all, I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys. So right now, we all locked in on the Chiefs, the Falcons, and the Cowboys all getting a W going into Week 9. So we're going to move on to a matchup that really don't hold no weight. It's the brother versus brother game, you know.
It's for the last piece of chicken. So this really, you know what I'm saying? That's makes fun.
Yeah, this is the thing though. Like, you know, we got brothers in the DML, so of course this will be an entertainment, more like an entertainment game for bragging rights, I guess. But I was going, you know, just say it how it is. I'm going to take the Bills with skill trade getting the W. And that's just how I feel about it, man. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with that one.
Yeah, me too. Give me the Bills.
All right, what's your thoughts, bro?
Just make it a clean sweep, man. I think the Bills. I think his goal this year was not to make the bottom 5, so I think he gets third win in the season, man.
Yo, but this is the thing though. The Bills got a crazy roster, man. Like that roster is crazy. You just can't seem to figure out how to get any play calling right. But we're gonna move on though, man. We got the Bills getting the W going into Week 9. Next up, we got the New York Giants, Richie versus Westside Pablo and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is another game, man, that by far Westside Pablo he has to get this W, because he can't afford to take another loss and fall behind the pack as far as chasing Expert for that division crown. Because as of right now, nobody's competing with Expert in that division. So this is a game right here that he has to come out and execute on all cylinders to secure him a W. Because Saquon Barkley has been tearing the DML up this season.
For sure.
But outside of Saquon Barkley, there's nothing else exciting about New York. So this is a no-brainer for me either. I'm going to go with who I think should win, but my gut is telling me something different. You know what? I'm calling the upset. I'm calling the upset on this game. I'm taking Saquon Barkley and Richie running themselves to a W, moving into Week 9. What's your thoughts on this matchup? Who y'all going with?
Man, I tell you what, Gruger Hill. I mean that's the biggest X factor player on his defense that he just shut down Lamar Jackson. So I like your upset pick, but I think Pablo's going to figure it out and be able to shut down Saquon tonight. I think they just kicked off a few minutes ago, so I'm going to take Pablo against the Giants, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching this game now. Giants actually up 3-0. And on the year, Saquon's averaging 11.9 yards a carry, which is insane. But I'm going to take Westside too.
But those stats are kind of tainted, you know. I think he ran for like 4 bills on HBO. So, you know.
Listen, 11.9 is 11.9. Now, I know personally, Saquon, he is the hardest running back to stop in this game. He is a cheat code. But I'm going to take Westside.
All right, Richie, man, I'm the only one in your corner. Get this W for me. Moving on, we got Andy Forrest and the Raiders versus the Schemer and the Jets. Can we all agree, like, what the heck is going on with the Schemer? Like, you know, what's going on, man? This dude made, by far, when I said I wasn't going to mention that other user who made a crazy trade last offseason, this is the guy I was talking about. He gave up a first-round pick, okay, for a goddamn head coach. And then he goes out, and he picks up Julio Jones. All right, who's the aging wide receiver?
Man,
don't get me
Julio, 137 years old, bro.
Like, all right, and then you have to resign him at that. Okay, let's not throw that out there. It's like I could understood if this was high stakes. You just was like, all right, I'm going all in. Then I won't be questioning these moves. But this is like the second season in. Like, what's going on? And right now, it seems to not even be working out because they're sitting at 2-4. You know, but this week they get a struggling Raiders team.
This week they get an L.
I mean, oh dang!
give me the Raiders.
You called that out.
Yeah, give me the Raiders.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that because I just don't understand what's going on in scheming here sometimes, you know. But this is a no-brainer for me too. If the Oakland Raiders can't. I mean, if the Las Vegas Raiders can't lock in a W this week, they might as well just pack it up and get ready for the offseason. But with my pick, I'm going with you too, man. The Raiders getting a W going into week 9. Embro, what's going on? Who you got on this game?
Man, I think Sam Darnold, he got traded from Schemer to Andy. I think Andy's going to let him know that he made the wrong deal from his perspective, but it gave Andy a heck of a quarterback for pretty much free, man. And I think Andy's going to come out there and light Schemer up. So I'm going to go with them Raiders.
Yeah, them Raiders is easy. This is an easy pick. Getting a W going into week 9. Next up, we got your Green Bay Packers versus T-Pain the Detroit Lions. This matchup right here is going to be pretty much a stat-stuffing game. How much can the Green Bay Packers put up on the scoreboard? Because the Detroit Lions, man, sitting at 1-5. They're ranked in the bottom of the pack in all defensive categories. The defense is giving up a whopping 40 points per game. God dang! 40 points per game. That's 10 points from every single game eating at McDonald's for free. So what's your thoughts on this matchup? Because my pick is a no-brainer, man. I just think the Lions is just right now competing for the number 1 overall draft pick. And I'm going with the Packers, putting up Nuggets and donuts this matchup.
Yeah, I got the Packers. He needs to keep winning, too, because he don't got his pick. Bruce got it. So I'm pretty sure Bruce is excited to see him keep losing, but T-Pain cool and all, but unfortunately, I got the Packers in a blowout.
Yeah, man. So, Ember, what's going on, man? What's your thoughts on this matchup? And tell us, let the DML know, man, how many points are you planning on putting up? Because T-Pain, I think, man, he got it packed up, man. He in rebuild stage with those Lions, man.
Yo, what's sad, man? That dude had a legitimate roster, and he got victimized by SJ and Bruce. Like Addy just said, he don't even have his first round pick this year, and he's about to be a bottom 5 user. Mm-hmm. And he tore that team apart before they even got started.
No, remember he got hit with a crazy violation. Yep, not paid.
He was like $24 million in cap penalties in the first offseason, and then he had to drop his left tackle and drop his nice young linebacker in Davis. So that team right now is trash. The user's trash. He's ducking me right now. So I can tell you right now, he's catching smoke tomorrow, and he's getting nuggets. And I'm gonna do my best to drop as many points as I can on that bum. So you heard it here first. It's a no-brainer. He's catching smoke.
T-Pain, if you listening, come out and play, because the Packers is trying to put you in a body bag, brother. So you got to come out and ball, man. Ball out there in Detroit. But we all got the Packers getting a W going into week 9. Moving on, we got Carl and the San Francisco 49ers versus Flair and the Los Angeles Rams. This is another team. This is a no-brainer pick. But it just feels so sad seeing a good organization with so much talent just be wasted, man. Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Cook. It's just like the list goes on and on for how much talent is on this roster, but it's just like, this is a bottom tier team because they fell to Flair, who just seems to keep repeating the same thing every cycle. How many number 1 overall picks he's going to be able to draft versus how many playoff appearances, how many banners he's going to raise. But it is what it is. Flair a good dude, man. I think Flair's be having a lot of stuff going on outside of the league where he can't actually focus in on getting some lab time in. But this is another game. Whereas those going to be down to how much stats can be put up and how many points can be put up. So I'm going to set the bar right here. I got the San Francisco 49ers winning this game by a whopping 35 points. That's my pick.
That's not even that bad.
I'm locking.
That's being nice, man.
That ain't that bad.
I'm setting the bar. So what's y'all thoughts on who y'all got winning it?
I mean, come on. No offense to Flair, but Flair ain't figured it out in a while. Mm-hmm. And Khalil is actually really good. Like, in my opinion, he's one of the best guys here. So this could get to a 50 ball very easily.
Dang,
Flair's had a lot of close games, believe it or not, man. With the players, I mean, sometimes the ratings overcome the user. But I think the last time these two played, I think Niner time, I think gave him 70 if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not going to go any other way, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Niner time and the Niners.
Dang, Flair, don't get 70 points put up on you, man. Come on. Tighten up, man. You loose out here. So we all got the 49ers getting the easy W going into week 9. Moving on, we got King Vitamin and those Los Angeles Chargers versus Darkness and the Denver Broncos. Now, I just got a chance last week to play against Darkness and the Denver Broncos. This team is actually pretty alright, but when it comes down to the play calling, you got to do more than outside routes, outside zone handoff. You got to mix it up, baby. Like, you can't come out that flat-footed on the offensive side of the ball. But this week, you're playing against a top-tier user with a top-tier roster, and I don't think that is going to cut you a break. I got Vitamin easily by far. This is another game that's going to come down pretty much to how many stats and how many points can be put up. So I'm going to set the bar once again in this matchup. I got Vitamin getting a W by, I'm going to say 27.5 points. That's my pick, and I'm locked in. What's your thoughts on who y'all going with?
I think they already played, man, and I think your guess was pretty good, man.
Ooh.
I think Vitamin won either 24-3 or 31-3, something like that. But it was a pretty easily handed game by Vitamin and the Chargers, and I think Derwin James had another forced fumbler or two, so add that to his long list that he has this season.
Yo, that's crazy.
You're doing that.
Yo.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't not go against Vitamin. Derwin James is obviously a problem, and then Melvin Gordon after Saquon for me is probably one of the tougher backs to try and contain. So even if they didn't play, I was going Vitamin.
All right, so we all got.
Yo, what's crazy, man? When I played Vitamin in the Super Bowl, I deliberately ran away from James every play. The one time I didn't. Forced fumble.
Yo, that dude
one time I did.
That dude, he killing people out there on that dang football field, man. Like,
you see that guy, you might as well go down. That's free chicken for the league.
Play dead.
Him, Neil on the Falcons, Jamal Adams, them guys, you see them coming. Just some free chicken for everybody. You might as well just go down.
Telling you, that's crazy. So we all got Vitamin. Well, Vitamin already locked in his W by multiple touchdowns, so he definitely has a W going into week 9. Moving on, we got tight work in the Miami Dolphins versus JB and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Seahawks suffered an injury bug this season. They whipped out their top threat receiver DK Metcalf, so that makes things a little bit hard to do. And it makes it hard for you to get things flowing on the offense side of the ball. However, that's not an excuse in the DML, because you have to have the next man ready to step up. Tight work is back to what tight work knows how to do, which is running the rock and getting things going. This matchup, I could see it being an okay game, but it seems like when you watch JB play, after the third half, after the first half, once the second half gets going, it's like he just vanishes, man, and his therapeutic stuff start kicking in.
That's funny.
So I'm telling you, man, like, JB gonna play them first 2 quarters. It's gonna be tough. You like, yo, who the? But then once that second half kick in, man, it's just like, okay, he started making crazy throws, but I'm going for the upset in this one because I feel like JB has the roster to compete with this Miami Dolphins team. So with my pick, I'm going Seattle Seahawks, getting a W at home, feeding off that home crowd energy, locking in the W going into week 9. So, what's your thoughts on this matchup and who y'all going with?
Dang, that's actually a crazy prediction. I'm looking at his team now, and DK's back. That'll definitely work in his favor, for sure. I know he definitely likes to pass the ball, but I will not be picking him to win. And that's my guy too. JB's my guy. Like, that's a solid dude, one of the most solid dudes I know in this league. But right now, Tightworks defense is a top 5 defense, and it's clicking for sure. And again, like a guy that likes to run the ball and knows how to run it effectively. And that's just who this game is made for. So I got to go with Tight.
Yeah, man, Tightworks an easy choice for me. JB's picked it up the last couple of weeks, but Tightworks defense has been top notch, man. He's got them boys in the backfield, and Hunter Smith and Xavier Howard and his rookie Reedy. Them boys are out there covering the whole field, man. So I think the game's gonna be close. I'm picking at 17-14 Fins, man.
All right, come on, JB, don't let me down, man. Get this W. Next up, we got the recap of the Houston Texans game, Addy 5 versus SJ. As you can see, it was a close game, 24-17. The Houston Texans were able to secure them a victory. What was your thoughts on this matchup, man? You think you guys came out and played good football? Addy?
Yeah, I mean, against SJ, he likes to blitz a lot, so you kind of got to be careful with what you do. And I had a scenario I was trying to get, so I was trying to run the clock a lot. Because I like to pass, but I think Duke Johnson had like 25 carries for he killed them on the ground, needless to say. But it was a close one. They're always going to be close. I mean, when you play a guy that's pretty solid and he's in your division, that's just how games usually go. But I was able to squeak it out. I turned it over a little too much than I would prefer, but I was able to get out of there. So a dub is a dub.
Exactly. All right, moving on. We got Tone Dog on the New England Patriots versus Sweet 99 Arizona Cardinals. This game flat out will come to one thing and one thing only. Can Tone figure out how to stop this air raid passing game out there in Arizona? Because the white Tyreek Hill, the X Factor, what's the guy? I think it's Butler.
Isabella, you talking about?
Yeah, Isabella. We got Isabella.
White Lightning.
He got Kurt,
he's an X Factor. And what's the other guy named?
Butler.
The thing is, man, Butler and Kirk aren't playing this week. They're both hurt.
Ooh. So
Butler had a partial torn ACL against the Giants.
So, Tone, you got to worry about one guy only.
Sound good.
And it definitely. Listen, I played this guy last season. I don't know how Sweets does it, but he just knows how to get this guy open, man. It's ridiculous, but man, this is gonna be a good game. But I just gotta go to. I'm gonna base it off of stick skills, man. I just think when it comes to stick skills, Tone can go toe to toe with Sweets. So with my pick, man, I'm going with that. Cardinals definitely getting a W going in the week 9. What's your thoughts on this matchup right here?
I ain't gonna spend too much time. We win the cards.
Amber, what you got?
Go ahead and give me the homie Sweets, man. I think that even though the two guys aren't playing, I think Kyler Murray and White Lightning are gonna get it done for him, man. So
I mean, pretty easy. For me, when you got it figured out, you got it figured out. And I think almost all 3 of those receivers got 1,000 yards. If they didn't go over them, I'm not sure. I know they were close.
He had the trio. He went all 3 of them went. They all had 1,400 yards, man. Yeah,
and that meat from a guy who's a passer, I don't think people really realize how impressive that is. And for somebody like that, it don't matter who there. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the O-line that he had season 1. His O-line's legit now.
Yeah,
season 1 O-line was trash cans. So that's Sweets had it going, man. He had a low key good season for what he got dealt with.
That's true.
We'll see if you can keep it up. Last game on the card, we got my Pittsburgh Steelers versus under-2 Washington Redskins. I'm telling you right now, I'm not even worried about his record, even though he's sitting at 0-6.
True.
I'm coming out playing this guy like he's sitting at 6-0 because after watching game film on this Redskins team, I don't know what they doing to these guys at practice. I don't know what they're doing in the weight room, but these dudes can hit. And I don't believe besides is Collins an X Factor? I don't.
Landon?
Yeah,
he might be a superstar.
I think
I know he's superstar.
Yeah, so he's a superstar, but it just seemed like everybody on this Washington Redskins defense, it's just everybody's a hard hitter, So I'm gonna have to definitely come with my A game. I can't give you my game plan, but just know Bush is gonna be involved with controlling the middle of the field. So, anybody that wants to come across there can definitely meet him, and we can schedule a date. It's not going to end well with whoever comes across that middle, believe that. But, I'm going to have to come out and just flat out one thing, get him, make him become a pass. Force him to pass the ball on the offensive side of the ball and slow down Geis. And on the defense, we're going to have to cover that ball up. If we can execute those two things, I definitely can see us getting a W going into week 8. Of course, I'm never going to pick against myself. I don't care if I'm sitting at 1-6, whatever. I want to always go with my team. So my pick, I'm taking the Steelers, man. What's your thoughts on this matchup, Brad?
Man, I think under, he's a diehard Redskins fan. I think he's been watching too much real life Redskins. I think he's playing depressed right now. He's playing like the real life Redskins, but I'm gonna go ahead and give the win to the OG by a close margin. I think the Redskins are gonna keep it tight, but I think OG's gonna come out on top.
Yeah, I would lean Steelers only because I think momentum in this game sometimes plays a big factor. Mm-hmm. Sometimes more than it should. And when you're a team with a bad record like Under is right now, not that he's a bad user, because, you don't make the playoffs being a bad user. But his team is doing bad right now. And I've seen too often where a guy can be in the game and then he fumble when he has no business fumbling. And sometimes this goes against you when your team's already doing bad. So I'm going to take the Steelers in a close game. But what I will say is that if you don't be careful, Geis will chew you up, because that guy is the real deal.
Yeah, man, I know. I've been watching him. Best believe that. So that was the picks of Week 8. Now we're going to dive into the top 5 users in the DML. All right. Now I know this list right here is going to get some people on their feelings. We don't care. When you tune into this segment, you better bring your crocodile suit with the crocodile hat and the crocodile shoes, because we don't care what's your thoughts on this list. We don't care what you have been doing. This list right here is based off of overall talent in the DML. Okay? So let's dive into it. Cracking the number 5 slot, we have Tight Work. Just to give a background on Tight Work, he's raised multiple banners. This is his third cycle taking the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
Third cycle straight taking the Miami Dolphins. And by far, in my opinion, he deserved to be on this list. One, because each cycle for 3 cycles straight, he's took in one of the worst teams as far as overall talent-wise, and shown that it doesn't matter about the roster. It strictly comes down to stick skills. So I definitely feel comfortable with placing him on this top 5 list. So what's your guys' thoughts when Tight Work coming in at number 5?
I think. No, you go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so I think it's a good spot for Tight. Like you already said, man, he picks a bad team. I think this year the Dolphins were like a 65 overall, maybe even less than that. It might have been a 62. It was something like that. He picked him in the top 10.
We were at 68. Show some respect.
He took a picture of it, and when the season started, 'cause I think the rating lowered a little bit when we actually started. But I think it was a 65, because I think his team's a 75 now. Mm-hmm. But he took a bad team and he competed all season and barely missed the playoffs off a divisional, technicality kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So he does it every season, every cycle. He takes that team, and it's not just about your stick skills. It's about being an owner, making the right moves, constructing the team to be a winning team. And I picked Tight Work to win that division the rest of the cycle, man. So I think this is a great spot for him.
Yeah, I personally don't think you could do a top 5 and not include him. When you talk about consistency and being a user, he's been a top user for a few cycles now. And like you said, he's playing with the Dolphins. I don't think a lot of people could compete to even make the playoffs rather than win a Super Bowl, and he's won 3. It's a number of guys that haven't even won their first, and you talk about a guy that's won 3 with the Dolphins. So whenever you make a top 5 list, his name got to appear on it.
And I agree, man. So we got Tight cracking the number 5 slot. Moving on to the next user, we have Expert. Right now, he's the owner of his favorite team, of course, in real life, the Dallas Cowboys. This is a guy, man, that I think deserves to be on the list just off of the fact of each cycle he comes out and he knows how to adapt. This is what he had been in the DML for multiple cycles, but he was able to raise a banner in back-to-back cycles, which is something that a lot of guys don't understand how hard it is to do. Just off the fact of you're playing a different type of game, come each cycle, and for you to do it, and adapt your game style and your stick skills to doing it, by far, I think that this guy definitely deserves to be on the list. And he's one of those guys that's going to come out each cycle and compete, no matter who he's compete with the best of them, versus this if he's going up against a top tier user or if he's going up against a bum user. And I like the fact of just, I'm not going to say cocky, but how confident he is in his gameplay, man. So I'm definitely feel comfortable with him coming in at the number 4 slot. What's your thoughts on Expert cracking the list?
Go ahead, Eddie.
I think we lost Eddie. So I'm gonna
lost. All right.
Oh no, I'm here. My bad. Bro.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, my joint was muted. Sorry. I think 4 is a cool spot for him. Definitely. When you talk about a guy who's raised his banner multiple times, he actually beat me in the high stakes Super Bowl. So we played a number of times, and he picks up on the game. No matter what kind of game it is, how it plays, he figures it out. And he's a tough user to play. If you don't come to play, he gets you out of there early. Like I said, it's certain users that just know the ins and outs of the game, and he seems to know what works year in and year out. And he's consistent in winning since I've been here for the most part. He's won way more games than he's lost. Mm-hmm. So I think a guy like that, no one can have a problem with a guy like that being on the list.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, ever since I've been up in here, ever since, before I even joined the Blueprint or the DML, I tracked the DML, and he's always been a contender, whether he had the Texans, the Jags, even now with the Cowboys. I mean, if you don't come prepared to play him, he can smack you in the mouth real quick, no matter what team he has. I mean, he's had a real great success so far. This cycle, the Dallas Cowboys are loaded on both sides of the ball. I'm interested to see how the cycle goes on the roster moves he'll have to make because of the salary cap and some of the contracts that he has. But I mean, him being at number 4, he's already raised a banner the last 2 cycles with 2 different teams. I wouldn't be shocked to see him raise his 3rd with the Dallas Cowboys in this cycle at some point.
All right, so that's Expert coming at the number 4 slot. This next user coming in at the number 3 slot had a lot of success in a short period of time with him joining the DML, and this Bruce, man. This guy came in last cycle, took over Baltimore Ravens team and reconstructed them his very first off season. He gave me Lamar Jackson, which I thought from the gate was like, whoa, that's a major trade. And you're giving away a dual threat quarterback who's very dangerous. So he made some questions
in the division.
At that, But he made some real questionable trades. But this was a guy that trusted his process and understood what type of team he was trying to build. And that if you didn't get a chance to tune in, you think this Cleveland Browns defense is nasty. That Baltimore Ravens defense and what he was able to do with Alex Collins at the running back position, this dude every single season last cycle was a threat. And he was able, like I said, man, in a short period of time, raise a banner. I think that was actually he was one of the fastest user to join the DML and actually win a banner, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he was.
I don't think nobody came in. My fault. Me scratched that. The CIA agent himself came in and did that, I believe, after the next season. So he came in, raised his banner the next season. That's Mr. Hot Tub. But Bruce came in, man, and just took the DML, by storm. He came in and stamped his name on it very fast. And I feel comfortable, man, with this guy coming in at number 3. So what's your thoughts on Bruce cracking the list at number 3?
I think it's a good spot for him. I mean, he's a baller on defense. I mean, like you said, the Baltimore defense he constructed, was nasty. I mean, when he played Matty Ice in the Super Bowl in last cycle, I'll be honest with you, I picked Matty Ice to win. I mean, like a lot of people did. Matty Ice is a baller on offense, and he shut him out. I think it was like a 13-0 or 16-0, something like that. He gave him a donut in the Super Bowl. That's not easy to do. And season one, this cycle, he made the playoffs. He fell a little bit short, but this season, I mean, he's been red hot. He's blowing dudes out. He has like a mid-60 overall quarterback, and he has one interception all season he's thrown. He just beat HBO like 48-7 this morning. So, I mean, it's starting to click for him this cycle. It's a perfect spot for him. I think he's a great user. I think he knows how to construct a team. He loves to draft and develop. I think this is a perfect spot for him.
Yeah, Bruce is another user that I consider one of my guys. We talk a lot, and I don't think anyone can be mad about him being on the list. I think some might argue his position. This is about right for me. Defense is always good. When you look at him currently, in total yards, he has the number 2 defense in the whole league. And he's a guy that's always there defensively. You got to bring your hard hat when you're playing him. He'll confuse you a little bit. You got to kind of figure out what he's doing. But another user where he can beat anybody. And when you talk about this top 5 list, you go head to head. Who can they beat? He can beat anybody. So I don't think anybody can argue that.
All right.
And him and Expert just played 2 weeks ago, and he was down by 21.
Yeah,
and came back and won that game. So I mean, for a guy that's a heavy defensive player, for him to come back and keep his cool and weather the storm, to come back on the Cowboys like that, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it just speaks volume of those 2 top 5 users that are on the list playing each other.
Mm-hmm. Now that's Bruce coming in at the number 3 slot. Now this number 2 slot, this right here we're gonna get some feedback on this one, but I feel comfortable with this list, man. We got Mr. Embro himself cracking the DML top 5 users within top 5 users in the league. So this is my input. Okay, a lot of guys say they're going to do something, but don't stand on it. This dude announced last cycle that, listen, if the Packers is there, I'm taking it. Now, in my opinion, that Packers team was okay, but they weren't a Super Bowl contending team. Whether they had A-Rod back there with his X-Factor abilities or not, that team flat out, I'm by far going to say I did not have them winning that division crown last year. Going up against the Minnesota Vikings with all that talent, especially the Chicago Bears with Khalil Mack wreaking havoc. So what this guy was able to do, and saying something and standing on it, he said live on the DML Network, that's my division. I'm the king of the North. So for him,
he said that.
So for him to come out and stand on that shit and win the king of the sticks, you gotta throw him on the list, man. You got to, because this was a guy that he spoke that stuff into existence. You gotta respect it. And I mean, so what's your thoughts, Addy, on Embro coming at the number 2 slot?
I think, like, for me, when I'm making the top 5 list, there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, banners always speak volume, but I think style of play for me always does. And in terms of adjustments, how well can you adjust? How well can you do this? How well can you do that? And this isn't me just saying this to say it because he's here, but outside of myself, if I had to pick a user that I thought could be the top user in it, I would say him. Only because defensively he can confuse you. And the thing is, he plays with his safeties, so you might think you got a deep route open, and then he comes over the top and he takes that away. And some might say, well, how can you be number 2 when you only got 1 chip? But you got to think, he ran into some really good users last year. He had really good records from the door. He had the Eagles team, and I think finished a few regular seasons like 14-2 or something like that. But he ran into me, unfortunately. Not for me to say it, no kind of way, but I had things figured out last Madden, and sometimes I think guys undersell others' stick skill because they run into a certain user. But if you're good, you're good, and that just is what it is. I think that this won't be his last Super Bowl. I mean, I would hope it is because I want to win the rest, but I don't think it would be his last Super Bowl. And I'm not even talking this version. I'm talking other versions moving forward. We do talk now and then, but you just got to respect. Real recognize real, and it just is what it is.
So, Ember, man, I'm just going to come right to you, man. Like, what has been the reason to your success in the DML? Is it like, bro, let's break down Embro thought process when he's playing Madden. When he's just playing Madden, period. Like, what's the reason behind his success?
Well, first off, man, I want to appreciate y'all for putting me in the top 5. I know that's going to cause a little bit of a issue with a lot of guys because this is only my 3.5 season being up here. But, I like to grind on here, man. I work hard at my craft. Like Addy said, I play a little bit different style of ball. Most people use it as linebackers. I've used it as safety for a long time. So it definitely is a different style of play. But I think it works in my benefit. I've been up here since my third and a half season, and I went 14-2 my first 3 seasons. This year is going to be a little bit different. I've struggled a little bit. I'm 4-3 right now, but we're hoping to figure it out this week. But I mean, I study each of my opponents. I watch people's games. I look at their tendencies. Especially the playoff time. I can't even lie, man. Expert, he waxed me in a regular season, but I knew when it was time to play an NFC chip, I was like, I got to play a little bit different. So I studied his games. I went and watched what he did, from start to finish. So when I played him, I was focused, and it propelled me to Super Bowl. And even in the Super Bowl, I mean, I came out red hot, and I was feeling good about myself. I'm like, man, I'm about to hang my first banner. I'm out here, putting it on him. And then he came back and started giving me the business, and I'm like, man, this is rough. I can't choke while everyone was watching me. But weathered the storm, you stay calm, and came out on top in overtime. But even in that game, at the end, I saw the defensive adjustment he made, and so I audibled and made an adjustment for the game-winning play. Like I said, I watch everyone's games. I watch what everybody does, and I think that's my biggest benefit to how I play is that I see certain things and I act on it. And but I definitely love to grind. And I said I appreciate y'all putting me in the top 5, man. It means a lot.
See, I heard it first in a man's mouth that is just balling out right now. So we got Embro at the number 2 slot, Bruce at the number 3 slot. We got Expert coming in at the number 4 slot, and Mr. Typework coming in at the number 5 slot. Number 1 slot, man, this is a no-brainer. I'm pretty sure that everybody already know who it is. This guy has hung multiple banners, and by far, in my opinion, we have at least one. We have one user each cycle that just figures out the game and just it's like nothing can go wrong in their favor. They just dominate the cycle. And this guy last cycle, man, just flat out ripped the DML apart, man. The championship every single season you had to run into this guy. It's flat out. Like if you was playing for a Super Bowl, this is the guy that you had to run through. And it's Mr. Addy, the guy that's on the show right now. This guy, man, listen, I watched him play multiple cycles, and I was one of his critics. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm being honest with you. Right now, man, he's a he's a good dude. I busted up with him outside of the chat, and I was one of his top critics. He'd tell you, listen, I used to be like, man, Eddie, yeah, it's choking. Man, you a choke artist. But watching, because it wasn't necessarily, me coming at him. It was more of a, yo, dude, you good. Like, your ass need to win something. You see what I'm saying? And after seeing him last cycle, man, just come out and hang his first banner, I said it. I said, yo, soon he won. I said, yo, the pressure is off. It's about to get real. Like, it's about to get real. The next thing you know, he did it again. Then he did it again. So it just was like, this is a guy, man, that I'm going accustomed to that just knows how to play the game. You see what I'm saying? And he's a threat, in my opinion, no matter what cycle we in. You know, as long as he's going to be in the DML, I feel like he's definitely going to be a top-tier threat. You know, and last cycle, man, like, yo, it was crazy. But I'm going to come right to you, man. Like, what was the thought process after, you know how you get that feeling like, oh, I can do this. Then once you do it and you win that championship and you hang that banner and you're going through that second season, right? And the mojo is still there and you're like, yo, I can do this again. And you do it 2 times back to back. But walk me through the process of three-peating. Like, how did that feel, man? What was going through your mind?
I mean, you know, when I talk, I don't never put myself on the list. I try not to. I'd rather other people do that. But I mean, at this point, it just is what it is. I think that in Madden, yeah, you have to be a good user, but things just have to go your way sometimes. You know what I mean? And anyone who says otherwise, I think is either just being foolish or isn't telling the truth. Mm-hmm. I've definitely had some things go my way. I've made opportunities for myself for that to happen, and I think you need a combination of both. Honestly, a three-peat, I think it's only ever been done once before, or twice by the same user. But it's like that kind of focus. Like I said, it takes a certain kind of focus, but it also takes some things to go your way. So, I mean, in those bowls, like one of them games I was down, my second bowl I was down freaking, I want to say 17 with like 4 minutes left. And then I recovered the onside. So, like, sometimes it takes stuff like that to happen. But for me, it starts on defense, man. Like, I know jokers always talk about my offense. I personally don't think I have that explosive of an offense. I think I know how to play offense. I know what works. I try to, you know what I'm saying, do what works. But, like, for me, it's about getting stops. At the end of the day, if you can't stop anyone, you won't win anything. So, for me, I like to throw my hard hat on and like I said, yards, you can have your yards, but it's about points. At the end of the day, that's what matters. And if I can hold you to a minimal amount of points, I'm really confident in winning the game against anybody. This league, any league, it just is what it is.
All right, so Ember, we'll come to you, man. You watch this guy play. But what's your thoughts on Eddie coming at the number 1 slot?
Man, it's rightfully deserved, man. I mean, I've been following Addy for a while, even before him and I really met and, chatted up. I mean, when he won his first one, his second one, third one, I'm like, man, this cat can ball. And it wasn't like he was playing bums. I mean, you never play a bum in a Super Bowl, so for him to come out and win 3 in a row, and he went to 5 out of 9 last cycle. I mean, that's half the cycle you're in playing in the Super Bowl.
I mean, it was 6. It was 6, but I mean,
I think it was 5.
Yeah, I lost the first one too. That's a crazy.
Oh, you are right. I remember. That's my bad, man. So he went to 6. So 6 of the 9. So, that's a crazy amount to go to in one cycle, and let alone win 4 of them. I mean, come on, man. I mean, he knows how to make a roster. He knows how to play defense. Like he just said, I mean, his offense is great, but defense is what makes it go. And if you watch the Saints defense all that last cycle, I mean, those linebackers, the DBs, D-line, everything he had, man, it clicked. And his user linebacker skills are, top notch in the league. As you can see, every season, his linebackers are always top notch in statistics. So I mean, he was one silly play away from going to the Super Bowl, the season 1 against me. But he was just in that game, and everything was going against him in that game, and he still hung in there, and he was still close. So I mean, to put him at 1, there's not one person in the DML that should disagree or put him anywhere else.
All right, so I'm gonna come to you before we close out this list, Addy. Who was by far, people want to know, who was by far the toughest opponent you played in the Super Bowl, whether it was a win or a loss? Who was by far the toughest opponent you played?
It got to be Rich 215.
Okay.
I know he's not a fan favorite, but I mean, we all know he just knows what works in the game. You know what I mean? I think Tub was tough. I mean, he beat me twice, but those were games where like you go back and you're like, damn, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have done that. You kind of let the pressure get to you. But like, Rich had a weird way with the game, and obviously, you know, jokers gonna say YouTube, cheese, glitch, whatever. But like, playing somebody like that is tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you there to cover, and he's still getting passes offside. For me, it got to be him. I don't see anybody else. It got to be him.
All right, so
makes it easier when they're watching your strings, man. So you know.
So Rich, if you out there, man,
no comment.
Rich, if you out there, man, Eddie just gave you some, you know, some points, man. You was the toughest user that he played against. All right, man. That was our top 5 DML users as of right now in the DML. We gave y'all the golden picks for week 8. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray, man. It was a pleasure doing the show with y'all, man. It's always good when you could chop it up with some good dudes, man, on live air. So I appreciate y'all, man. Hopefully we can do this again in the near future. But we out.